Hello, welcome to InSights in 5, presented by the Curatorial Services and Collection Access Division at History, Colorado. I'm Ann Sneesby-Koch, the Assistant Curator of Serials and also the Project Manager for the Colorado Digital Newspaper Project. I'm here to give you the nickel tour of the newspaper collection at the Stephen H. Hart Research Center at History, Colorado. Some history of the collection, what and why we collect, and the exciting digital initiatives we're involved in that bring you yesterday's news today and preserves Colorado stories from today for the future. Newspapers have always been an important collecting and preservation initiative at History, Colorado, in no small part due to the fact that two Denver newspapermen helped establish the Colorado Historical Society in 1879. Will Farrell was the Society's first curator and the publisher of the Daily Colorado Republican and Rocky Mountain Herald, and William N. Byers, who was one of the Society's first directors and founder of the venerable Rocky Mountain News. Newspaper collecting at the Society began in 1897. Byers contributed first to the collection, giving the Society the 1859 to 1878 run of the Rocky Mountain News. Then newspapers from Denver were called on to add the Society to their subscription list, 2 copies of each issue, one to bind and one to clip. By the end of the year of 1897, the Society subscribed to 125 Colorado titles. By 1901 and 1902, 400 titles were being collected from not only Colorado, but from regional and national papers. In the 1920s, the physical collection was bound as part of the Society's preservation program. In 1943, the state of Colorado established microfilming services to preserve the print collection. Then, in the 1980s, the Society was awarded an NEH U.S. Newspaper Project grant to microfilm 1.7 million pages from historic Colorado newspapers, resulting in 830 reels, preserving 600 titles from over 200 towns in Colorado, which were found in 77 different repositories throughout the state. To some, and I quote, "The Colorado Newspaper Project reached across the state, overcoming the urban-rural and mountain-plains dichotomy. The committed staff worked in barns and basements, abandoned missile silos, and brand-new libraries. They read an estimated 577 miles of microfilm, and they regularly made personal connections with the interesting and astounding face of local history, reading the rigors of settlement life in the mountains and the tragedies of dryland farming. Newspaper preservation is, at heart, the preservation of the stories of ordinary people. To date, History Colorado holds and serves over 22,000 reels of microfilm, the most extensive collection of Colorado newspapers in the world. We continue to collect and film newspapers from each of Colorado's 64 counties, 81 titles in all. It is an extraordinary contemporary collecting program that has statewide reach and statewide representation, highlighting Colorado's diverse social, racial, ethnic, economic, and political and religious communities. While it might seem like microfilm is an obsolete format, regulated to the dim, dusty corner of a library, using an ancient machine to scroll through old newspaper articles to find out why that farmhouse you just purchased at a bargain price keeps telling you to get out. It's actually the best preservation and storage format for newspapers. And following best standards and technical specifications, quality microfilm can be repurposed in the digital age. Since 2016, History Colorado has been digitizing historic Colorado newspapers through a national digital newspaper grant funded by the National Endowment for the Humanities. Over 100,000 pages of Colorado newspapers, with more on the way, have been digitized and are available on the Library of Congress's Chronicling America database, a tremendous resource which contains over 15 million pages of historic U.S. newspapers from the late 1600s up to the 1960s, free and publicly accessible. In this project, we have endeavored to continue the work of the original U.S. newspaper program and represent diverse communities through their newspapers and their stories. On Chronicling America, you'll discover Colorado stories and papers from agricultural communities along the western slope and the eastern plains, homesteader settlements that were particularly hit hard by the Dust Bowl and Great Depression and largely abandoned, papers from mining towns that saw gold and silver booms and turned ghost towns when the riches gave out, African American papers chronicling the experience of people of color in the Rocky Mountain West, newspapers documenting Denver's vibrant Jewish community, labor papers covering women's suffrage movement, socialism, and unions, and papers from Bessemer, a company town built by the behemoth Colorado Fuel and Iron Company in central Colorado, and Spanish language papers from southern Colorado that represent Colorado's rich Mexican and Hispanic heritage. History Colorado also works closely with the Colorado State Library, providing access to titles in our microfilm collection for digitization in the Colorado Historic Newspapers Collection, or CHNC. This collection is also freely accessible online and is a valuable research tool for scholars, genealogists, students, and history enthusiasts alike. CHNC currently includes more than 1.7 million digitized papers, representing more than 400 individual newspaper titles published in Colorado from 1859 up to 2019. The Stephen H. Hart Research Center provides services and a space for researchers to peruse the newspaper collection. Newspaper titles on microfilm can be found in our online Research Center catalog, and microfilm readers are available for use. The Research Center also provides on-site access to a newsbank archive of historic Colorado newspapers, which includes, among other titles, the Rocky Mountain News, 1860 through 1922, and the Denver Post, 1894 through 1993. Please note, upon reopening and until further notice, the Research Center will be open to researchers by appointment only. Information about making an appointment is included in the notes for this video. Interested in a deep dive using the newspaper collection for your own research? Join me for a virtual InSights how-to on using the different databases and the physical collection. Check out the link in the last slide to connect with InSights and InPerson series offerings. I hope you enjoyed this short jaunt through the newspaper collection at History Colorado and hope to see you at our virtual newspaper how-to event. Please take a moment to learn how to engage with our collection through our online collection portal and our upcoming InSights and InPerson events. Please also consider supporting the series and the collection with the donations. Links are in the next slide. Many thanks, and be well.